Hello, and welcome back to the original Larry D's Food for Thought. And today I am going to continue to read out of the old King James Bible as usual. And I'm going to also be reading the Old Testament and the New Testament, the law and the testimony. Here a little and there a little. Okay, just like the Lord had it written in Isaiah 28th chapter. Told you here a little and there a little. Okay. We also are going to be going over a few scriptures today concerning the title God's Wrath and 3.5 years of great tribulation and no rapture. Hmm. God's wrath and 3.5 years of great tribulation and no rapture. Okay. I'm going to share these with you right quick here. You can jot them down if you like. But yeah, I'm telling you, people don't want to believe it. They think this thing is going to go on and on and on. But let me tell you something. This thing is almost at an end. I mean, it's almost at a boil. Okay. All right. The Lord going to bring some stuff upon the face of this earth, man. And people just simply ain't ready for it because they not being taught this stuff. I mean, people don't want to sit down, read the Bible. They'd rather somebody stand up there in front of them and tell them stuff. And then they don't have the Bible with them to prove it. And but I'm gonna tell you something, man. This stuff you need to know this stuff because you're gonna mess around and get yourself caught up in a time that never was and never shall be again. I mean, it's gonna be a terrible time, okay? And as far as that thing about you being raptured off to heaven, I don't know where they read that from. I know where they get it from, but it's not saying that, okay? But the furthest you're gonna get up in the air is in the air, in the clouds, and that's it. Okay, and Lord gonna bring you right back down here on this earth. But no, people say that the great tribulation, 7 years. Nope, 3.5. You're gonna get caught up in it. I'm telling you. But anyway, I got quite a few scriptures to go over today, so I'm gonna go ahead on and stop sharing these. We're gonna go ahead and get started with this. And we're gonna start this in let's see, we're gonna start this in Psalm. But yeah, God's wrath and 3.5 years of great tribulation and no rapture. Okay. Now, Psalms 110, and we are going to start reading at verse 5, and it reads, The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings. Now, we're going to get right to the logistics of it, okay? We don't play around here. The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. Mm. Verse 6, he shall judge among the heathens. What is the heathens? Nations. He shall judge among the nations. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. Ooh. He shall wound the heads over many countries. I'm gonna tell you something, Lord, come, he will not be playing no games, people. I'm telling you, he said, oh, it's gonna be dead bodies everywhere. And he said, man, I'm gonna tell you, he said that the blood is gonna reach up to the bridles, uh, the horse's bridle. That's a whole lot of blood, and that's a whole lot of killing. Okay, but let's move on. Let's go over here to let's go to Isaiah right quick. Take a quick look at this here. You got people talking about uh hold on a second. Yeah, people talking about all this stuff, man, that that's not, they don't think gonna happen. Well, I'll tell you what, if you read this book, you'll understand that all of this stuff that the Lord had written, man, is gonna happen simply because look, he got this Bible, the Lord wrote the past, the present, and the future. He even tell you what's gonna happen in the future. And if you go back and you read what he had written in the Old Testament, you're gonna see that everything happened exactly the way he called it. So if you know what I mean, if it happened that way, don't you think what he wrote for the future ain't gonna happen? Okay. But anyway, let's read here. We went to Isaiah, the 34th chapter, and we're gonna start reading at verse 1. And it reads, and he talking to everybody right here. And he said, listen up. Okay. Verse Isaiah 34 and verse 1. And it reads, Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. I mean, he talking to everybody. Okay. And verse 2, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations. How many nations? All nations. And his fury upon all thy armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter. He talking about the future here, people. Okay. Verse 3, thy slain also shall be cast out, and thy stink shall come uh, up out of thy carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with thy blood. You remember when I said that about that blood gonna reach up to the horse's bridle? Hey, gonna do some serious killing here. Verse 4. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. What does that mean? Hey, Lord gonna have after that seventh trumpet sound, Lord gonna have them angels roll that water back. Yeah, that's what it is. You looking at it every day. When you look up there on a pretty sunny day, you looking at all that blue sky. Yeah, that's water you looking at. Gonna have those angels roll it back. I tell you. Oh, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all the hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as the fallen fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Okay, you wouldn't want to be in Idumea. Okay. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, and with the fat of the kidneys of rams. And Lord ain't talking about animals here, people. He talking about man, okay? People. For the Lord has a sacrifice in Bozrah and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Well, I'm tell you something. This God will not be playing when he comes. I'm telling you. So you want to be on his good side. How do you do that? Read this book. Do what he say. Okay. You want to be on this place where you can get away from this. But you don't know about it because you don't read and don't nobody else know to tell you. But I'm going to tell you, look, there is a place of safety. But in order to make it there, you have got to be on the Lord's good side. And that's it. I mean, plain and simple. Okay. But anyway, let's move on. Let's go over here to right quick to Isaiah the 66th chapter. And you hear people talking all the time, and well, we ain't gotta worry about the Lord dietary law. All we got to do is just pray over it and we can eat anything. Okay. Keep on eating that catfish and you keep on eating that pork. I'll tell you something. Now, this is future right here. Lord, I'm tell you what he's gonna do to you. All right. All right, this is Isaiah 66, and start reading at verse 15. And it reads, for behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger and fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. All flesh. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. I told you, Lord gonna be doing some killing when he comes. Okay, verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst. Hmm. Hiding behind a tree? What tree? Satan the devil. Okay. Eating swine's flesh. Now, what is swine? That pork? Told you. Eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. So you still eating that stuff when the Lord get here? Hey, got something for you. You're going to be consumed with all the mother that he's going to slay. All right. Verse 18, for I know thy works and thy thoughts. It shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. See what the Lord gonna do. Okay, but let's move on. Let's go right here to let's go to Micah right quick. Go to Micah, let's see, Micah the 5th chapter, and start reading at verse 9. 5 and 9. And we're going to see. Yeah. Okay. And it reads, verse 9. Thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thy enemies shall be cut off. When the Lord say he had it written that his enemies is more than the hairs upon his head. Tell you. Verse 10, and it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots, and I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds. Verse 12, and I will cut off witchcraft out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers, all them old witchcrafts and stuff, and palm readers and all that. Hey, taking you out. Verse 13, Thy graven images also will I cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thine hand, and I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee. So will I destroy thy cities, and I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen. What's the heathen? The nations, such as they have not heard. Well, you ain't heard of this, man. People think they know what war is now. I'll tell you something. The Lord gonna show you what war is when He get here. Tell you that stuff they doing now, like people playing in the playground. I'm gonna tell you something. The Lord come, man. He ain't be playing no game. He gonna show you what war is. All right. But let's move on. Let's run over here right quick to let's run over here to Revelations right quick and show you something. Oh yeah, going to Revelation, the 6th chapter. Quick look at this right quick here. Okay, Revelation 6. And we're going to start reading. Let's see. At verse, let's see. 6. We're going to start reading at verse 14. And it reads, And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Okay. So, just like I said before, we're going to have the angel roll that water back up there. You roll it back like a scroll. Okay. And and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountain, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Who is the Lamb? That is Jesus, people. When the Lord came the first time, He came as the Lamb and He died for you and I. But when He come back this time, He coming back as the Lion of Judah. And what does a lion do? They rip and tear. Okay? But the people going to say, all the ungodly people, man, know they done messed up. Talking about running in and rocks and stuff, falling on them and kill them and hide them. You ain't hiding nothing. Lord know where he at. Verse 17, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Ask yourself that question. The only way you're gonna be able to stand if you start doing what he say do right now. Okay? Fear God and keep his commandment. How many times have you crossed anybody that you feared? Tell you something. You better fear this God. Because I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna bring some serious wrath upon this place. All right, but let's move on. Let's go to Matthew's right quick. Go to Matthew's. Uh, Matthew's 24. Matthew's 24, and we are going to start reading at, let's see, verse 15. And I'm going to see something, tell you something about this little great tribulation, all right? When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. People don't have a clue what they hear. They don't understand this. Who is the abomination of desolation? I don't have a clue who it is. They ain't teaching in these churches. Need to know about this cat. This guy that's sitting right over there in Rome right now. He wearing a crown on his head with 666 on it. And I'm gonna tell you, he is the abomination of desolation. And they are going to build his temple over there in Jerusalem, and they are about to start, if they haven't already, build this temple, and then they're going to place this guy in there. Okay? But, verse 16, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So, Lord, showing you how urgent this thing is when this guy move over there and they place him in that temple. It's very, very urgent. Verse 19. And woe, I'm gonna say, wait a minute. Where we at? 19, 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as that was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So for the Lord, for the elect's sake, who is it? God's elect, for Israel's sake, not the Israelis, okay? Yeah, I always have to say that. But for the elect's sake, Lord gonna cut them days short, or wouldn't be no flesh saved. Okay. Uh verse let's see, verse 26. Wherefore, if They shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So, Lord, they say he's in the desert, don't believe it. They say in the chamber, don't believe it. But when the Lord come, every eye gonna see him. Okay? Every eye. All right, but let's move on. Let's go to Daniel right quick. Because we spoke about Daniel. Uh They spoke about this great tribulation. Let's take a quick look at this. One of Daniel 12. Daniel, the 12th chapter. Take a quick look at this here. Be Daniel 12. Start reading at verse 1, and it reads, And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. What book? Book of life. Okay. Now, the all right, verse 8. And I heard, now this is what Daniel said, and I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And this, and he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Okay. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So you read this book, get some wisdom, hey, you know what to do. All right, verse 11. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away. Now, what is this daily sacrifice? That's those animals that they kill. They're going to reinstitute the animal sacrifice. Just prior to or right during the time they build that temple. And when the cat move over there, the abomination of desolation, that cat over in Rome now, okay? Cat that's heading up to Catholic Church, give you a good hint there. Once he move over there, he gonna stop that sacrifice. Okay, and she'll be taken away, and the abomination that maketh death is set up. That's when he get in there. There shall be 1,290 days. Now you add that up. It's 3.5 years, people, not 7. Okay, that great tribulation, 3.5 years. Okay, it's gonna be a terrible time. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to Matthew 24. People talk about they're gonna be raptured out of here for that great tribulation. I tell you what, would you be willing to put your paycheck on it? Hmm. Let's see. All right. On in Matthew 24, I'm going to start reading at verse 4. And the Lord was talking to his disciples right here. All right. Verse 4. And it reads, And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Okay, a whole lot of people being deceived, people. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay. Now, you see all these wars going on. You got Russia and Ukraine. You got who was that? Israel and Hamas, all this stuff going on. You seeing all this stuff now. Verse 7, For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. You got a whole lot of earthquakes going on. A lot of people don't know about it, but it is. Verse 8, All these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. There's a lot of hatred out here. Verse 11, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. I'm telling you, those cats stand up there, call themselves them pastors. Tell you what, they ain't reading this stuff to you. They're reading some other stuff. And a lot of times, most of them just telling you stuff out of the precepts of their own mind. Okay? I ain't reading this to you. Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. There's no love for nobody anymore. You can't even speak to somebody on the street and want ready to wave a gun in your face. You know, love is gone, man. I'll tell you. But anyway, excuse me. Uh, verse 29. Now, let's see if you're going to put your check on this. All right. Immediately after. the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. That's Jesus, people. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So, Son of Man, that's Jesus. So he ain't even coming to after. They say immediately after the tribulation of those days. So you say he gonna rapture you up out of here before the good great tribulation? You just lost your paycheck because you ain't going nowhere. Okay, best you can do is meet the Lord in the air. We're gonna show you that. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's go over here to First Thessalonians right quick. Show you this. Okay. First Thessalonians, fourth chapter. We'll start reading at verse 13, and it reads, "But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope." Okay, we come out, don't sorrow over those that sleep in Jesus, those that live good life, did what the Lord said, and they died in Christ. Okay. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and we do, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with them. And those that are dead, Lord will bring them with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. So it's still gonna be some people alive when the Lord get here. Okay. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. 7 trumpets will be blown. And once that 7th trumpet, the last trump, that's when the Lord is going to bring the Lord, okay? And the dead in Christ shall rise first. So those that remain, all be changed and caught up to meet the Lord in the air. Let's see this. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Now they take that little bit of scripture right there. So shall we ever be with the Lord. See, he gonna take us on to heaven. He didn't say that. He said, so shall we ever be with him. Now, question is, where? Okay, where? We're gonna meet him in the air and see where he gonna go. All right, let's go over here to Zechariah right quick. Let's go to Zechariah. Man, I'll put a marker there. Right quick. I lost that. Anyway, here we are. Zechariah, the 14th chapter. We're going to take a look at something here. All right. Find out where you going to go, where the Lord going to take you, and it ain't heaven. Okay. Uh, Zechariah 14, and we'll start reading at verse 1. And it reads, "Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee, for I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. Mm. And the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives." What? At the same place the Lord's feet was when he left here nearly 2,000 years ago. When he come back, his feet gonna stand on that same place, Mount of Olives. Okay. Which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and towards the west, and there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove towards the north, and half of it towards the south. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountain, for the valley of the mountain shall reach unto Azel. Yeah, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. So, Lord make his descent, and those that be found worthy to be caught up to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord? Yes. He gonna bring you right back down here to this earth, okay, to help fight the war of Armageddon. Okay. So yeah, you're gonna forever be with the Lord, but it ain't gonna be in heaven. Okay. So get that out of your head. So I'm telling you, God's wrath and 3.5 years of great tribulation and no rapture. Okay. I hope that you understood a little bit of this. All right. But with that, food for thought, think on these scriptures and words throughout the course of the day. And until next time, peace.